Hey friends, welcome to Hot News. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're cold and nice and cozy up in that northern hemisphere if that's where you reside. If you're here in the southern hemisphere, hope you're sweating because Hot News is about to bring it even hotter. That didn't make sense, but I'm sticking with it anyways. We have to remind you, my friends, that this episode of Hot News is brought to you by our holiday merch. You have a few days left to pick it up. It's gonna be gone at the end of the month. December 31st is the last day for you to pick it up. So in case you're looking to get the It Just Works Holiday Edition, the sweater is ray traced, the All I Want for Christmas is Papa Linus, the Santa Got My Gaming PC at Walmart, and the I Learned to Build Computers from The Verge. I just had to go southern for that. I don't know why. If you want to pick up any and every single one of those, you can check out the link in the video description. We have a coupon code for 10% off right now until the end of the month when they're going away for good. JUSTWORKS. JustWorks is the coupon code. Check it out, 10% off. Now, let's jump into the hot news because we got some hot fire stuff to talk about. First up, let's talk about AMD launching stuff at CES. We discussed this at length a couple weeks ago about that Adored TV leak that came out where AMD is going to be bringing some hot fire Zen CPUs, Zen 2 Ryzen 3000 CPUs to CES, as well as some Navi stuff that we should be expecting. However, we also have conflicting rumors right now that are talking about maybe something else is what's going to be coming out. So this is coming from WCCF Tech, which we all know is our favorite rumor place, and they talk about how it is anticipated that AMD is going to be launching Ryzen 3000. They're going to be launching new APUs as well as some brand new graphics cards. So we talked about this in a previous hot news. We already have good information on the brand new APUs, which is probably the least interesting one of the bunch for most people. We also have the Ryzen 3000U series, which is going to be stuff for laptops called codename Picasso. It looks like it's going to be built on Zen Plus with some Vega graphics, which is all fine and dandy. It basically is the same thing that we got from AMD last year, which was just an iterative update rather than something exceptionally brand new and awesome. But the thing that really set everybody's Jimmy in a rustle about the AMD leaks that we got from Adored TV was just how epic it seemed everything would be. If you take a look at what's on your screen right now, you can see that we're expecting up to 16 cores at 5 gigahertz for less than what Intel is selling their i9-9900K for. And if you want a reasonably priced $200 chip, you're gonna get a lot more than whatever Intel is bringing to the market, which was what was so exciting about it. According to the WCCF Tech leak, there's not a whole lot of information about that. So there's no disparity there. It looks like those CPUs could still either be on track or they're completely made up, and neither of them is going to happen. But we could expect, just like last year, that AMD is actually going to announce new CPUs at CES because that's when they announce them, and then they release more in the April timeframe. So that's kind of what we're expecting here. Announcement in a couple weeks, January 8th or so at CES of the new Ryzen 3000 CPUs, and then eventually release them down the line. But the interesting thing that WCCF Tech is quoting here is, as you can see, we're going to get a Radeon graphics card, which is probably Radeon Vega 2. We covered this in a previous hot news that AMD has trademarked Vega 2 with a pretty dope new logo. It's a nice creative way of indicating that there's a second iteration, but this kind of goes against everything else that we've been hearing in the rumor pipeline about the type of graphics cards that we should be expecting. The Adored TV rumors showed us that we should be expecting something for around $300 to compete with a GTX 1080 or an RTX 2070 just without the ray tracing cores, which actually isn't too far off if AMD is going to be releasing new 7nm graphics cards. And for the past 6 months, the rumors have been out there, and I've been personally told by a lot of people that Vega wasn't going to see new graphics cards. The Vega 7nm that AMD released for the world was only going to be in high performance environments or cloud computing or in data centers, never for actual gamers. But WCCF Tech is thinking that the 7nm Vega actually might be coming to consumers, which is why they actually trademarked Vega 2. And it's kind of confusing because the Navi leaks that Adored TV brought out were actually quite enticing. The fact that you can get an RX 580 level performance for $100 was quite delicious. And the naming scheme, bringing it RX 3000 series to just kind of one up NVIDIA, made sense in an idealistic way compared to what AMD did for Intel with just changing the names to copy what Intel had. It made sense that that's what they would do with the new Navi GPUs, but it appears, at least according to this leak, that we're not going to get any of that, and we're just going to get an upgrade of Vega, which is sucky. Super sucky. As Elf said, oh, this is very sucky.
Oh, it's very sucky. It's very sucky.
I'm not excited for this at all. Maybe the original leaks of Navi being released this coming year were a bit overhyped, or maybe WCCF Tech has the wrong information. The only way to find out is to wait a couple weeks, which isn't that hard. But we're telling you here on Hot News First so that you have plenty of time to discuss this with your friends and family and make them feel that you're a fanboy of AMD. Speaking of things that AMD is releasing, this one's actually confirmed. A while back, AMD released the Athlon 200GE APU for around $55. It was considered to be a pretty decent chip with 2 cores, 4 threads, and then some Vega graphics thrown on it. Well, it appears that they're going to be bringing out some big brothers to the 200GE, namely the 220GE and the 240GE, with the 220 going for 65 and the 240 going for 75, just giving you a little bit better clock speed and a little bit more graphics performance, so hopefully you actually might be able to play Fortnite at 1080p, probably not. But all of this has a 35-watt TDP, so this is kind of exciting. I like it. I like it. Good job, AMD, bringing performance to the budget crowd. We just talked about how things are coming out from AMD, but let's talk about things that might have to roll back, which is ZTE and Huawei's phones. In America, it looks like the Trump administration is anticipating doing a full-out ban of both Huawei and ZTE devices, not just in phones, but all of the things that they might produce, such as routers, which, I mean, our wireless router here in South Africa is made by Huawei. They're a very big company, specifically with the chairman of Huawei saying that barring Huawei from participating in various 5G markets is like an NBA game without all-stars. You can't play to the highest possible technical standards. So Huawei is not impressed by this. It appears that the reason they're doing this is because of security concerns that Huawei and ZTE have presented about maybe selling data of American clients to the Chinese government, and America wouldn't like that. Makes sense, which is also the reason that Huawei's CFO has been arrested in Canada to await extradition to the US because of violating sanction deals with Iran. And it's a whole complicated mess, but basically the Americans think that Huawei and ZTE are selling data to the Chinese government. America doesn't like that, so they're trying to pull all of these stops. And then there's the trade war that's involved in all of this, where you're having higher tariffs and increasing costs. And it looks like this is a giant political show. There also might be some security risks at concern, depending on who you talk to. Some people say that this isn't happening at all. And then there's others who are saying that no, this is definitely happening, just like what happened with Supermicro when the report came out from Bloomberg that there was Chinese spy chips in their motherboards. And then Supermicro is like, we verified this with independent third parties. There's no spy chips. What are you talking about? So it's a lot of he said, she said, but we'll see where this goes. I'll keep you updated if anything develops any further. But let's talk more about Huawei and the fact that they have sold over 200 million smartphones in 2018, up from 153 last year. There's not even 7 million people in the world. How are they selling 200 million smartphones? We reported this actually back in Hot News several months ago about how this was Huawei's goal to actually hit 200 million by the end of the year, and they had hit 100 million at that point, probably sometime around the midway mark, and it's pretty good. You got solid devices like the Mate 20 Pro getting the best battery and camera score out of basically any phone released this year, and then you also have some great budget options like the P20 Lite, which is like a $250 smartphone with a lot of good class specs. So well done to Huawei, but you didn't get any of those from the US anyways. Imagine if you actually sold there. But while Huawei has been raking in the cash with good sales, you know who hasn't? Apple and the iPhone XR. Or at least that's what the reports initially made you believe. However, new details have come out that it actually turns out that Apple sold more XRs in the first few months than they ever did of the iPhone X in the first place, and it's a better selling phone, even though it was labeled as a disappointment. As you can see from this chart on the screen, these are the sales after the first 30 days of launch, and the XR right here doing pretty well compared to the X right here, selling more devices. So it's not that big of a failure. I super dig it. I like the phone. I like my iPhone XR. I like the Apple Watch and the AirPods more though. So the bad news about Apple has been a little dismissed, but you know what hasn't been dismissed, or what has, I guess? Apple can't sell iPhones in Germany anymore, at least certain models, according to a patent ruling by the German government. This is following some developments that happened in a Chinese court where Qualcomm won a lawsuit against Apple there as well, and it looks like the iPhone 7 and 8 will no longer be able to be sold in Apple's 15 retail stores in Germany, even though they can still sell the 10, the XR, and the XS, which, cool. Great. Apple obviously not pleased with this. They think that their campaign is a desperate attempt to distract from the real issues between our companies. That's how I imagine Apple talking. But that's old news. Let's talk about older news. The OnePlus 7 or the OnePlus 5G has been pictured, even though the 16T just came out. We have this presentation being given here. This is an undisclosed OnePlus device. As you can see, it has the never settle thing. And we'll see. This obviously is probably just an initial CAD drawing of a prototype, and that's probably not what the camera is going to look like. They're not going back to, what is that, the Motorola design? I hope not. That looks hideous. Anyways, new OnePlus, in case you're interested. And also, in case you're more interested, Instagram apparently updated their app yesterday. I didn't get this update.
I did.
Okay.
It was horrendous, and I didn't know what was going on.
So instead of vertically scrolling through your feed, you had to swipe horizontally or tap to advance through the stories, and everybody lost their mind. Instagram responded by saying, due to a bug, some users saw a change to the way their feed appears today. We quickly fixed the issue and feed is back to normal. We apologize for any confusion. Basically, it was a beta test that they were doing that rolled out to basically everybody. Good job, Instagram. Or it was them actually trying to change things and everybody lost their crap. And then speaking of losing their crap, Intel has been losing their crap against Qualcomm for how many lawsuits that they're going through. Qualcomm winning against Apple. It appears that they're also taking Intel to court. And Intel basically thinks that Qualcomm is using these lawsuits for threat and to kind of manipulate the market, which is ironic since that's what Intel has been known for ages. So yeah, as this Tom's Hardware article puts it, pot calling the kettle black. My friends, you've done this to AMD so many times. You're gonna get upset when Qualcomm does it to you? Learn how to play the game. Speaking of rival companies though, it appears that the NES Classic and the SNES Classic run PlayStation games better than the PS1 Classic mini thing, which is great. So there's a test showing this YouTube video. You can check it out in the video description. And yeah, if you put something like RetroArch onto your NES Classic, you get better gameplay than the PS Classic, which is good news that the PlayStation Classic is now on sale, 40% off, $60 instead of $100. That's still too expensive. Cut the price, Sony. You're doing bad jobs things. Don't do it no more. But you know who's not selling a product nobody wants to buy? Epic Games and Fortnite. They made $3 billion profit this year. Not $3 billion, $3 billion in profit from all of the freaking microtransactions that are in the free-to-play game Fortnite. This bothers me to an unreal level. Get it? Unreal Engine. Anyways, that's a terrible joke. Well done. You made a game that everybody wants to play. You're making a butt ton of money. Capitalism. Also explains why they're getting a little hoity-toity and pulling all of their games off of different platforms so that they can make their own, because they think they're big for the britches at this point. We'll see where this goes, Epic Games. We'll see what your portfolio is like next year after the Fortnite hype is gone. And with the Fortnite hype, many of you might remember a wee old game called PUBG, which happened to be the battle royale of choice just a year ago. And they went from having 3 million concurrent players to plummeting down to less than 1 million. 895,000 was their lowest point in October of this year. But now it appears that after their winter update with the new map, they're over 1 million concurrent players again. Good job, PUBG. Back to relevance. Hopefully you don't die off. Speaking of more cool video game stuff, apparently somebody has designed a way for you to take your Roomba, which is your little vacuum cleaner that sweeps up the floor while you're out at work, and then you can take the maps that it generates of your house and turn it into a Doom game, which is kind of cool. So it's called the Doomba, because of course it is, and you can design your own levels. I dig it. And in case you haven't been affected by this, G2A, who is known for selling keys online for cheaper than you can get them elsewhere, either by legal or illegal means, depending on who you ask, they are sending out an email to a lot of people saying if you haven't logged in for the last 180 days, they're gonna charge you a €1 inactivity fee for not using their service. What? No. Stop this crap. That's baloney. And then after that first euro, you're gonna be charged an extra euro for every month you do not log in. And it's gonna be taken from your G2A wallet. Don't keep money in your G2A wallet, and G2A, don't do this crap in the first place. This is garbage. That's a terrible business practice, but you know, they're not necessarily held in high regard for their business practices, so being held in high regard though, that's Black Mirror on Netflix. They released a trailer yesterday for the upcoming film called Bandersnatch, which is supposedly gonna be a choose your own adventure where you can just click on a whole bunch of different stuff. It's supposed to release today. They dropped the trailer yesterday, gonna release today. That's how you do hype. I'm excited to watch this today. By the time this hot news episode has come out, it's probably already available. So let me know if you watched it. Don't give any spoilers because I haven't checked it out yet. I don't have that much free time. Anyways, that's gonna wrap it up for hot news news today. Let me know what you thought of anything and everything we talked about down in those comments down below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it. Get subscribed to stay up to date on all of our tech-related content. Don't forget to check out our holiday merch for the last few days that it's on sale. Use the coupon code JUSTWORKS to save 10% off any and everything you purchase on that Dare store. Anyways, I'm going to wrap it up there. I'm Brett with the UFD Tech Channel. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see your smiling faces again in the next video. Love you too.